Are you interested in purchasing a Tesla or any electric vehicle, but you're a little hesitant? You're scared of the unknown. You don't know how charging works. You don't know what the etiquette of charging works, public charging especially. There's no handbook, there's no written paperwork, there's no defined laws. But like baseball, there's unwritten rules. It's just like an etiquette that we follow. Nobody writes it down. We just know how to do it. Well, I'm Alex Tech. We're going to look at some etiquettes about supercharging that you should know before you buy your Tesla. So I was at a Supercharger this morning, and the first thing that I thought about when I got there was, man, how do people know when it's their turn to supercharge, right? Because superchargers are most of the time pretty packed if you live in a very populated area like I do in Southern California. And a lot of times when you pull up into your supercharging area, all of them are filled up and people are waiting in line. There's no wait list. It's not like, let's say, a public university. They have a wait list on the phone or something like that, and you just pull up when it's your time. When you go to a supercharger, for the most part, it's at a populated area. A lot of them are shopping malls or like Target. A lot of them are opening up in Target this year. But in those circumstances, you have a row of superchargers, and then you have the rest of the parking lot. What usually happens if when you pull up into the parking lot and all the supercharger stations are taken, there's Teslas that are parked directly across from them, looking in. When you first pull in, survey your surroundings. Make sure you know who was there before you. So it doesn't matter which ones were there before you in terms of their order. All that you need to know is that those cars were there before you. So if there are two cars parked in the parking lot waiting to go in, you park next to it. It doesn't matter which of those cars went first because they're both in line before you. It's just an unwritten rule. Every supercharger I've been to, it's just, we self-police it. It's kind of weird. It's interesting because this whole Tesla community, the supercharging community, it's a community. I mean, most of these Tesla owners are actually really good at self-policing, and I haven't seen any fights. I have seen fights on public chargers, which we'll talk about in a little bit, where, they're free chargers and people like, even if a guy's waiting right there, some guy will cut in and then there's a whole argument. I've seen that in public chargers, but I've never seen this for superchargers. It's very, very fluid in how it self-polices, and the system it's not the best, but it works. We self-police it. It's weird. It just naturally happens. Nobody tried to rush in. They all knew that the Model S next to me went and parked. And then when I saw a car pulling out, there were 3 other Teslas lined up. Not even near me. It was just in the other parking spots. Nobody moved. They all knew it was my turn, and I went in and parked. It's just that easy. It's just an etiquette thing, and it just works pretty well. The second etiquette is something that's not even written. I don't even know if a lot of people follow it. It's something that I personally just do myself. And I'm talking about, like in today's situation, I went to a mall, and there's a supercharging strip right there on the parking lot of the mall, and right across, like literally 2 rows down, there are Volta chargers, which are free public level 2 chargers. There's about 3 of them, and you see that everywhere in populated cities. There's a lot of free charging spaces, and they're very contested. A lot of people go and wait to get free charging while they're shopping, and it's great. I charge on free charging spots all the time, but my rule is that I will never charge at a free charging spot, or let's say there's charge points or EVgo ones in the same parking lot as a supercharger. I will never, ever charge on those. I will always wait for the supercharger, not because it's fast. Yes, superchargers are much faster than level 2 chargers. Not because of that, but because I have a Tesla, and the cars that cannot charge at the superchargers cannot use those. So I prefer to let them use all of those options while I can supercharge, because typically you should only stay at a supercharger for 40 minutes. That's the next one we're going to talk about. But it tends just to flow a lot quicker at superchargers than it does for these free chargers. There's not a lot of chargers in a lot of places, maybe 2 or 3. Some of them are getting bigger and bigger, but right now, just not that much. And the supercharging has been a lifesaver because there's been many situations where, hey, you know what? You got a 4 o'clock meeting. You got only 1 hour in between that you got to hit this spot, and then you got to do something else after. You don't have a lot of time. You can't afford to take it to a market and leave it there for a couple hours. So the supercharging really just progresses your daily schedule. And I use that a lot as a measure of time consuming. All right, this next one is a little more technical, but it's good to know and it's really important. So if you pull into a supercharging slot that's open and you see that the supercharging cable isn't plugged into its resting spot and it's on the floor or rested on top, that means that the charging cable is not working. That means that the supercharger is actually broken. So don't use that supercharger. Actually, don't plug it back in either. It's a universal sign for Tesla owners not to use that charging station. It means that it's broken. Also, if for some reason you're charging and it stops charging or it doesn't work right, pull it out and don't put it back in. Put it on the floor or rest it on top. That's how you let the people behind you know that this supercharging station isn't working. Then you get into your car and you file a bug report. All right, what are we at? Number 4? We're at number 4? Okay, so this next one is also unwritten. All these are unwritten, right? But I don't even know if a lot of people follow this one per se, but I try to uphold this on my own daily life. And of course, sometimes I break it as well. But when I'm charging, I try to charge to what I need it to be if it's really packed. So let's say there's a high usage supercharger and there's a lot of people there. I try not to overcharge all the way up to my daily limit, which is 90. So for example, like today, I needed to get back to work, right? I needed to just get through the day because I know tomorrow I will have access to a level 2 charger at work to charge, but I just needed to get to one spot today. So I charged it up to 40 instead of 90 from 19%, and then I got in the car and left. So it only took me about 15 minutes, and I think it opened it up for those other 6 cars waiting in the supercharging line. That's usually how it works. I don't know if everybody does that, but there are some people who do that, and that really frees up the traffic for superchargers. And I know you might be thinking, oh man, I'm already there. It's my spot. People just should wait behind me because I wait in line too. And it's fair to say, you're right. But just imagine someone else does that for you and you're in a time crunch. All of us are in a time crunch sooner or later, one day or not, right? Number 5, this is more of a socializing thing, right? So when you're at a supercharger, if you step out of your car and you're just lounging around outside your car, you're fair game to be talked to. So you don't like being talked to or approached by strangers, stay inside your car. The rule of thumb is usually when someone's sitting inside their car and on their phone or something like that, you don't disturb them. That's just how it works. But if you're standing outside your car, you're fair game. People walk up to you, talk about your car, and it's fun. I actually have a lot of fun. I've met a lot of cool Tesla owners at superchargers by doing that. So I park the car, I go out there, maybe I'm wiping my hood or something, and my neighbor or the guy across from me or the woman across from them, we kind of huddle together, or they walk around and look at the car, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, look what you did here. Oh, cool. You added this. Oh, you added a spoiler, this and that. It's kind of cool, and it becomes like a car circle. The Model 3, when you're parked at a supercharger, you're fair game. If you made any modifications or you just like talking about the car, when you're parked and someone approaches you, you're fair game to be talked to. So those were just 5 things that popped into my mind when I was at a supercharger today. And there's probably a lot of other etiquettes that you have or know about. And if you do, please leave a comment below. We have to share this community. This is a new world. It's a brave frontier. And it's also fun. You know, it's also great and exciting to be a part of this like electric revolution. Even if you're not into the whole saving the environment thing, just this new technology and this lifestyle that we're kind of modifying to, it's really cool to get into. So once again, I'm Alex Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully this helped ease someone's fear out there of charging. And I'll see you guys next time.
And that's it. Be sure to subscribe here. Hit the bell button so you don't miss any of our videos. And check out our other videos right here. Until next time,